On July 7, 2017, at 11:55 p.m., Air Canada Flight 759 touched down at San Francisco International Airport. However, it didn't land on the runway. Instead, it collided with 4 planes parked nearby, each carrying over 1,000 passengers. How did the pilots stray off course during landing? Why didn't their automatic landing systems or air traffic control intervene? Would this mishap lead to a catastrophic collision, resulting in the deaths of 1,150 people? Or would a last-minute twist change the course of events entirely? Let's delve into the story of one of aviation history's most dangerous landing mistakes in this special episode.
Questionable landing involving an Air Canada plane at the San Francisco airport.
Call at San Francisco International Airport. This Air Canada flight was cleared to land Friday, but the pilot mistakenly lined up the plane for a taxiway next to the runway.
Friday night, it was in fact a very close call. 4 other passenger jets loaded with passengers and fuel lined up on that taxiway.
That almost landed on top of 4 jets on the taxiway at SFO.
An Air Canada plane came to slamming into other jets.
A near miss at SFO. A flight came close to hitting other planes while coming in for a landing.
The flight had departed from Toronto Pearson International Airport, and the aircraft, a 25-year-old Airbus A320, was in good condition, though it lacked some modern systems. With 135 passengers and 3 crew members aboard, it took off successfully. The weather was clear, and visibility was excellent, allowing passengers to relax. Little did they know, the final 30 minutes of this flight would be pivotal not just for them, but for the 1,000 passengers aboard the 4 other aircraft at San Francisco. Before we proceed to Flight 759's landing, it's essential to understand the runway structure at San Francisco International Airport. The airport has 4 intersecting runways, 19 right, 19 left, 28 right, and 28 left. However, only 2 runways can be used at the same time, which are parallel to each other. On days when winds blow from the south, runways 19 right and 19 left are operational. When winds come from the west, runways 28 right and 28 left are used. On the night of July 7th, as Flight 759 approached, the wind was blowing from the west, making runway 28 right the appropriate choice for landing. Air traffic control cleared the flight to land on runway 28 right. At around 11:30 p.m., with fewer flights in the area, runway 28 left was closed for maintenance, meaning its lights were turned off. Consequently, only runway 28 right and its adjacent taxiway were operational. As is standard, waiting flights typically remain on taxiways near the runway until it is clear for them to take off. In this case, the closed runway 28 left had its taxiway shut down as well, leaving only 2 lit pathways, runway 28 right and the taxiway next to it. When air traffic control granted clearance for Flight 759 to land, the pilots made a critical error. Despite having previously landed at this airport, the pilots mistakenly identified the lit taxiway as runway 28 left, which was not operational. They aligned their aircraft with the taxiway, unaware that 4 planes, United Airlines Flight 1, Philippine Airlines Flight 115, and 2 others were waiting to take off, all fully fueled and ready. Air Canada Flight 759 was hurtling toward them, unaware of the impending disaster. Although the pilots of Flight 759 misidentified the taxiway, the air traffic control should have intervened. Here's where the situation became even more complex. The closure of runway 28 left had been documented in a notice provided to the pilots before takeoff. Such notices can be extensive, making it challenging to read and comprehend every detail, leading to critical oversights. This was the second major error made by the Flight 759 pilots. Air traffic control had granted visual approach clearance due to the clear weather, allowing experienced pilots to land without complications. However, the instrument landing system ILS was also activated as a precautionary measure. Unfortunately, the pilots neglected to switch on the ILS, which would have provided warning signals for any errors. As they approached, air traffic control and the waiting pilots could have warned Flight 759. However, the presence of tall buildings in the area obscured visibility during the descent, leading to a false sense of normalcy among ATC and the waiting aircraft crews. As the distance between the planes and the runway shrank, around 11:55 p.m., the pilot of Philippine Airlines Flight 115 noticed Flight 759 heading straight toward the taxiway. To alert them, he activated his landing lights, hoping to signal that the taxiway was not a runway. Despite this, the air traffic control operator made a grave mistake by asserting that the runway was completely clear without verifying Flight 759's position. As Flight 759 neared the airport, the pilots of the 4 planes on the taxiway realized the impending disaster. United Airlines Flight 1's pilot urgently contacted ATC, questioning why Flight 759 was approaching the taxiway instead of the runway. At this moment, the heart rates of all 4 aircraft pilots surged. They had mere seconds to react. Thankfully, the ATC officer heard Flight 1's communication and ordered Flight 759 to abort the landing and perform a go-around. The pilots immediately complied, pulling back the throttle to gain altitude. It's chilling to realize that as they initiated the go-around, they were only 10 feet above the other planes. Had they delayed even 5 seconds, Flight 759 would have collided with Philippine Airlines Flight 115 and United Airlines Flight 863. Such a collision would have unleashed chaos, with an explosion from the first 3 planes potentially leading to a devastating chain reaction. Experts suggest that had the crash occurred, it could have resulted in the loss of approximately 1,150 lives in mere minutes. Luckily, disaster was averted. The question remains, how did the pilots make such a critical error? Some experts believe the pilots were fatigued. The first officer had been awake for 12 hours, and the captain for 19. Their internal body clocks were still on Toronto time, where it was 3:00 a.m., likely leading to distractions during the landing process. Furthermore, overlooking the NOTAM's and ATC's negligence contributed to this near tragedy. In reflecting on one of aviation's most critical incidents, we must consider the swift actions taken by both the pilots and ATC that averted disaster. Was it sheer luck that saved the lives of 1,150 passengers, or was it the quick thinking of those in command? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this case study informative, please like and share to support our efforts. For more gripping aviation stories, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for notifications. Until next time, take care.